Now I love caponata, I really do. It's one of my favourite relishes. I often serve it just on toast like a bruschetta, where it's brilliant. Now today I'm making an eggplant one, I suppose with capsicum, because there's quite a bit of capsicum in it too, so we'll say eggplant capsicum. And first of all, you have to fry the eggplant. Just cube about a medium eggplant, but you fry it in some olive oil until it's got a bit of colour. Because the big thing about eggplant, if you undercook it, it ain't nice, as my mother would say. And you do not want to waste this cup of olive oil, because you can use that for anything. But I don't want it all there, so we'll pour off most of it. What I've got here is half a large yellow capsicum, half a large red capsicum, half a large onion, clove or two of garlic. I'm just going to saute that until it's a bit tender. I saw an article just the other day which I thought was very interesting. There's this woman who I respect as a cookery book author saying, I'm sick to death of seeing people say, fry for 2 or 3 minutes until tender. And as she said, like bloody hell it's going to be tender after 2 or 3 minutes. Of course it's not. I'm also going to add some celery. I'm digressing now. And can I also suggest to you, with celery, unless it's the very inner leaves, always peel it, because when it's the outer ones, they're really tough and chewy. Then we'll dice our celery. Just like that. Pretty easy stuff, isn't it? As long as you know what you're doing. And I vaguely do. We'll throw that in as well. Cook that for 2 or 3 minutes until it's tender. No, I'm being a smart ass now, aren't I? The celery doesn't need to be quite as tender as the other ones, because it's really rather nice a little bit under, isn't it? Half a punnet of cherry tomatoes, which I've cut in quarters. I've also got a good tablespoon of capers, which I've rinsed, a really good tablespoon of sultanas, about 6 green olives, which were pitted, I should say. Now, the whole thing about caponata, it's a bit like those wonderful chopped salads that you get in the Middle East. The ingredients should be pretty much the same shape and size, because otherwise it just doesn't look right, does it? If you get a chopped salad from Israel or other Middle Eastern countries, they're always just chopped so neatly and tidily. They look bloody wonderful, they really do. Well, it's the same with the caponata. Chopped parsley, half a cup of my dear wife's wonderful veggie stock. I don't know what I did before she started making this. I love the stuff. I'll put some pepper in, but I won't put any salt in at the moment, because the capers are pretty salty, aren't they? A splash, good splash of your best balsamic, and a good splash white wine. We're going to cook that down until it is thickish and tender, and then we will return the eggplant. All right, guys, that hasn't taken long, about 5 or 10 minutes to be honest, because there wasn't a huge amount of liquid in it. Now, the other thing that I love about this is you can serve it hot, warm or cold. Just as good. But we will have that little taste to see if it needs any salt. I don't think it will, but who knows. And we'll just cook it for 5 minutes or so, just to get the eggplant as part of the dish, you know, to be involved in the dish rather than separate. Does that make any sense? What's that? Oh, I think you get the picture. Oh. Ew. Isn't that funny? A little bit more balsamic, just a smidgen. And when I say smidgen, I really mean it. And, surprisingly, needs a little bit of salt. All right, that's looking good, guys. Let's just whip it over to the back so I can talk about cooking the fush. Oh, I'm starting to sound like a New Zealander. Better be careful. My mother always used to say, when I rang her, because she lived in New Zealand all her life, and she'd say when I rang her, because I used to ring her every Sunday, without exception, and she'd say, you've been talking to New Zealanders again, your accent's returned. And she was quite right. Now, ocean trout. Lovely, delicate fish, a little bit more delicate than salmon, and also not as gamey. It's a lovely fish, I enjoy it. I enjoy salmon too, I must admit. We're going to do it with a crispy skin, or hopefully a crispy skin. And to do that, what you do first of all is you scrape it, just to get any extra scales off it, and then you dry it really, really well before seasoning it. Let's whack that in. Now the other thing you can do if you like, you can make a few cuts in the skin, you know, 2 or 3 crossways. But what you do definitely, is you do press it down. Now I've shown you before how you put another pan on it, but I'm not doing that because I'm actually putting it in the oven. So because I'm putting it in the oven, I don't want another pan on it, do I? Right guys, into the oven, 180 degrees, 7 minutes. Now I always thought, I'm being silly now, but I always thought that pecorino was a cheese, and you thought it too. Well, it's also a white wine grape variety from Tambacca in Italy, pecorino. Guys, to show your support for my channel and to keep in the loop, subscribe. It's easy to do, and don't forget, it's free. Okay, cheers.